and welcome to Canal Algérie's daily news. To the headlines. Algeria commemorates the International Workers' Day, an opportunity to hail the successful achievements stemming from the head of state strategy aiming to protect Algerian workers and preserve the purchasing power. The Palestinian cause at the heart of the Arab Economic and Cooperation Forum with the Central Asian countries and the Republic of Azerbaijan held in Doha, Qatar. And the head of the Algerian diplomacy highlights the importance of removing all economic obstacles and impediments. An agri-food mega-project in Ouargla province makes it a new hub for agricultural production. More details on this important economic asset later on. And a shocking death toll of more than 34,500 since the beginning of the Zionist aggression on Gaza. Meanwhile, the systematic siege on the Strip continues, suspending all relief services. Welcome again. Tomorrow, Algeria will commemorate the International Workers' Day, a yearly halt to identify the achievements that embody the commitment of the President of the Republic, aiming to protect the right of workers and preserve their professional and social status in Algeria, thus preserve job stability, the citizens' purchasing power, and achieve economic development. Rania al-Bahri tells us more.
May 1st wasn't just a tradition followed by countries in establishing manifestations of appreciation and gratitude for male and female workers in honor of their work, efforts and sacrifice.
بديناها في 2021 إعفاء كل الناس اللي تقاضوا 30,000 دينار وما أقل من ضرائب، نوع من رفع الأجور ب 20%، 15-20%. زدنا إضافات أخرى، زدنا في النقطة الاستدلالية، رفعنا في منح التقاعد إلى آخره، ونزيد حتى نوصل 47-50%. يصبح من 2021 نهاية 2024 نكون اللي كان يخلص نقولوا 5 ملايين ولا يخلص 7 ملايين ونص.
May 1st is an important milestone in the path of great sacrifices made by peoples in order to achieve renaissance and development like the rest of the countries in the world. Algeria commemorates this anniversary by strengthening the status of workers and considering them the true value of achieving the desired stability in various fields.
All these reforms and commitments made by the President of the Republic was a great asset to the sector and contributed to take the sector to another qualitative leap. We thank the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, for creating the position of physical education in the primary stage in view of the benefit it brings to pupils of this age.
The political will was embodied in a word and deed by bold decisions for the benefit of the workers and based on the necessity of providing various capabilities that would preserve for them and their children the dignity of living in peace and tranquility. Algeria took many historical decisions for the benefit of the workers, such as abolishing the income tax for the benefit of people with limited income, reviewing the evidentiary point, introducing an employment grant, and improving retirement fees in view of the development of the standard of living and protection for this category, which has provided a lot.
We are very optimistic about the President of the Republic because we are sure that he will accompany workers and retirees and raise their salaries. This is a wonderful initiative. We are very happy with it. All retirees have been waiting for it. We are very encouraged by the President's proposal for this increase for all the categories.
Obstacles to investment projects were lifted, and this led to the creation of tens of thousands of job positions. The state was keen to integrate master degree holders. The basic law for research professors was reviewed with approval of proposal to employ master's, doctorate degrees holders, and the wages of professors were also reviewed. Directives were given to prepare the basic law for the imams, which will include reviewing wages and allocating job housing for them in all major mosques in the provinces or in new residential municipalities.
Algeria knows the position of the imam in society and places him in the place he deserves, especially with the recent directives of the President of the Republic to improve the position of the imam, especially his financial situation, and this will help imams a lot.
All of these indicators reflect the strong will to gradually fulfill the aspirations of male and female citizens for a decent life and a suitable standard of living in the new Algeria.
A roundup now of the historical achievements that strengthened the position of the working class that keeps taking up the daily challenges and the devotion of the President of the Republic towards the improvement of the working conditions of the Algerian workers. More details with Yasin Hamdi.
The International Workers' Day is celebrated in Algeria in an atmosphere marked by the efforts made to strengthen the social and professional assets and assure a decent life to the Algerians. A policy that aims to motivate the working class to actively take part to the economic development program launched by the government. The measures adopted in favor of the Algerian workers represent major assets, such as the increase of the guaranteed national minimum wage, the exemption of low incomes from taxes, and the increase of wages and retirement allowances. The employees can now be part of the entrepreneurship sector and benefit from social security at the same time, a new right that will allow the creation of new economic opportunities.
Ce nouveau droit permet aux travailleurs de bénéficier en toute sécurité.
This new right allows the workers to safely benefit from unpaid vacations or part-time work, to create their companies and work on their projects. If the employee chooses the unpaid vacation option, he can reintegrate his job or get another job with the same salary. If he chooses the part-time option, he will keep his job and may get a full-time work.
The government insisted also on promoting the social dialogue and supervised the union action to preserve the employees' rights, being a fundamental democratic achievement to support the social growth and stability.
In a different activity and on behalf of the President of the Republic, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad, Ahmed Attaf, participated today in the third session of the Arab Economic and Cooperation Forum with the Central Asian countries and the Republic of Azerbaijan in Doha, Qatar. On the occasion, Attaf delivered a speech in which he emphasized the need for concerted efforts to support the Palestinian cause as the most important issue that must be included in the priorities of the international community. And in terms of strengthening cooperation towards perspectives that meet the aspirations of the peoples, Attaf highlighted the colossal means and capacities available to the countries. It is necessary to employ them in a constructive and productive partnership and to move economic obstacles and impediments. In the final communique, the Arab, Central Asian and Azerbaijani foreign ministers praised Algeria's efforts to champion the Palestinian cause. Let's have a listen.
As a priority, we would like to direct our joint efforts towards supporting and defending the Palestinian cause, the most just cause in the world, the most important one, and the oldest in the history of this UN institution. The Palestinian cause should be at the center of the priorities of the international community, especially amid this crucial conjuncture. This cause is in a direct need of our voices and positions, as well as our individual or joint efforts in order to put pressure and end the Zionist aggression against the Gaza Strip. It is imperative to allow aid achieving its objectives and especially to put an end to the genocide committed against the brotherly Palestinian people.
On the sidelines of this forum, the head of the Algerian diplomacy, Ahmed Attaf, was received by the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the State of Qatar, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdurrahman bin Jassim Al Thani. The two parties hailed the dynamic relations existing between Algeria and Qatar in line with the ambitious vision traced by the two heads of state. They also put forward the convergence and complementarity of the efforts deployed by the two countries in quest of achieving a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. The foreign minister also held discussions with his counterpart from Lebanon, Sudan, Mauritania, Azerbaijan and Somalia. Discussions that allowed the review of bilateral relations with these brotherly countries and tackle issues of common interest at the regional and international levels. In the same context, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad, Ahmed Attaf, received a phone call from his counterpart of the Sultanate of Oman, with whom he discussed the special relations of brotherhood and cooperation between the two brotherly countries and peoples, ways of strengthening them, as well as Arab issues of common interest. In a different activity, the Interior Minister Brahim Merad chaired today in Algiers the graduation ceremony of the 16th promotion Lieutenant Doctors and the 47th promotion of Civil Defense Agents. The ceremony took place at the Civil Defense Instruction and Intervention Unit in Dar al Baida. These two promotions include 27 Lieutenant Doctors and 600 agents from 10 new fully fledged provinces as part of the President of the Republic strategy aiming to generalize development in all provinces. The graduating promotion also included civil defense elements from the state of Palestine, Syria and Mauritania, who benefited from high-quality training in the different specialties. On the sidelines of this ceremony, the Interior Minister received today the General Director of the Tunisian National Office of Civil Defense, Major Colonel Abdelsamed Ben Jiddou, in the presence of the General Director of Civil Defense, Colonel Boualam Bourlef. The meeting was an opportunity to review operational and coordination cooperation between the two countries, notably in light of the political will which started a new era of partnership following the recent Carthage tripartite meeting. In other news, the President of the National Council of Scientific Research and Technologies, Mohamed Tahar Abdelia, received the diplomatic advisor of the Italian Prime Minister in charge of Mattei Plan, Fabrizio Saggio. The two parties reviewed the means to consolidate cooperation in the energy sector. On this occasion, the advisor made a proposition to Algeria regarding the Mattei Plan. In Ouargla province, Gassi Tawil region has recorded a real improvement in the agricultural sector after successful large-scale investments were made by agri-food activity, a Sonatrach subsidiary. Najahtiya reports.
Following the relaunch of the Gassi Tawil agricultural mega project managed by the agri-food activity, a subsidiary of the Sonatrach group, the landscape of the entire region has been transformed to thousands of hectares under cultivation. The Gassi Tawil agricultural region is now a true strategic crop center, in particular the production of wheat seed, in a recent experiment that has been a complete success.
We are very optimistic about the productivity of this agricultural season. The previous year we harvested 55 quintals per hectare. This year we're expecting production in the region of 60 quintals per hectare. The area irrigated in the Hassi Mas'oud locality in the previous year was 1,781 hectares, an area that has almost doubled this year to 3,789 hectares under irrigation.
This agri-food activity subsidiary has made and still is making the Gassi Tawil region a center for wheat seed production, an ambitious project to which all the technical and financial resources have been allocated.
This project is in line with the Agriculture Ministry's vision and strategy. We have developed 4 pivots for the multiplication of seeds on an area of 120 hectares.
The aim of this mega project is to contribute to self-sufficiency in wheat seed, supply the local market with organic products, and develop fodder crops to support sheep and cattle farming, turning the region into a key player in achieving the national food security objectives.
And now to this conference organized by the Ministry of Communication under the theme Media and Culture, Approaches and Strategies, a conference which witnessed the participation of several media figures who hosted this event in the presence of the Minister of the sector. Mohamed Lagab highlighted the importance of training for journalists in the cultural sector. The Zionist aggression against the Gaza Strip is still ongoing, bringing the death toll to more than 34,500 martyrs and more than 77,700 injured. At a time when the systematic siege on the Strip continues, the attacks also targeted the members of the relief teams, resulting in the suspension of all their services. Rania Al-Bahri explains.
The Zionist bombing on Gaza continues with destruction, devastation, killing and displacement, and the list of martyrs is still open right in the names of more and more innocent people. Today's bombing has affected the various areas of the Gaza Strip, most notably the cities of Khan Yunis and Rafah, the latter of which the occupation hasn't changed its war plans and its leaders are still waving by invading it. Even if the efforts and conclusion of a prisoner exchange deal succeeded, the occupation won't accept an absolute withdrawal from the Gaza Strip, nor will it back down from the invasion of Rafah, according to the statements of its leaders. At a time when efforts continue to reach a new calm, the proposed ceasefire for 40 days and the release of thousands of Palestinian prisoners in the occupation prisons, global reactions today have begun to tip the balance of justice to its rightful place. In a new precedent, the International Criminal Court is investigating what is happening in Gaza in terms of war crimes and genocide. The court investigators obtained testimony from employees at Shifa Hospital and others who worked in the main medical center in Khan Yunis. The criminal court's investigation against individuals accused of committing war crimes and other crimes against humanity raised concern among the Zionists, who were quick to confirm that any move by the International Criminal Court didn't affect the actions of the occupation, but it constituted a dangerous precedent that threatened the soldiers and the public figure.
And for his part, the UN Secretary General stated that he is deeply alarmed by the reports of mass graves in Gaza and that independent investigators must be allowed immediate access. Let's have a listen.
I'm deeply alarmed by reports that mass graves have been discovered in several locations in Gaza, including Al-Shifa Medical Complex and Nasser Medical Complex. In Nasser alone, over 390 bodies have reportedly been exhumed. There are competing narratives around several of these mass graves, including serious allegations that some of those buried were unlawfully killed. It is imperative that independent international investigators with forensic expertise are allowed immediate access to the sites of these mass graves to establish the precise circumstances under which hundreds of Palestinians lost their lives and were buried or reburied. The families of the dead and missing have a right to know what happened. And the world has a right to accountability for any violations of international law that may have taken place. Hospitals, health workers, patients, and all civilians must be protected, and the human rights of all must be respected.
And for its part, the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, Commissioner General urged countries to support an independent probe into the killings and detentions of its staff and damage to its compounds in Gaza. UNRWA has accused the Zionist entity of targeting its facilities during more than 7 months of the aggressions in the Gaza Strip and said that 182 of its staff there had been killed and more than 160 of its shelters hit. And in an upcoming plenary session of MPs Congress, the Spanish Popular Party will present a motion during which it will once again demand the chamber to re-establish Spain's neutral political position regarding the conflict in Western Sahara. The party also rejects the unilateral position adopted by the Spanish head of government on March of 2022. And we wind up our news with this refreshing trip to Akfadu Lake of Bijaya province. The Black Lake is well known for its immense biodiversity and for being a famous destination for nature lovers. Story by Yasin Hamni.
We are at 1,600 meters height above the sea level in one of the most important forest massifs of North Africa, the Akfadu Forest. This educational outing allows these young explorers to discover the forest cavity birds.
Depuis à peu près une année et demie, on a mis en place une section dédiée aux enfants.
We created this educational section for kids a year and a half ago. We make them discover nature and we teach them how to preserve it. Then we take them on trips so they can practice what they learned. We also have cultural and scientific activities.
C'est des activités pédagogiques culturelles pour l'éveil aux sciences et aux arts.
Accompanied by speleologists, the little explorers placed nest boxes they made so that birds can fly back to their trees.
We came here to see the animals and discover nature. They taught us how to protect our environment. The trees protect us when the weather is hot.
Les enfants, s'ils acquièrent des comportements sains vis-à-vis de la nature et de leur environnement.
If children respect nature, we hope that they will save the planet in the future. That's why we created this section. A good behavior towards nature may be ingrained in the next generations.
D'ancrer des comportements sains vis-à-vis de la nature.
Fresh air gives children opportunities to learn, develop their creativity, and stimulate their curiosity, which will allow them to open up to the world.
Indeed, a beautiful report compiled by our colleague Friya Al-Hamdi, with which we come to the end of today's program. Thank you for tuning in, and goodbye for now.